Okay.
Yeah, right.
Let me fix my hair.
Uh-huh.
Fix
What's
my-
going on, everybody?
What's up, everybody? Good
Or
afternoon.
good evening.
Oh, buenos tardes.
Buenas tardes.
See. It's the first of the month. So grab it. He still doesn't know the first of the month song. Wait. Okay. All I want you to say is wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Get up, get up, get up, get up, get up. Wake up. Why are you looking at me like that? Wake up, wake up, wake up. Get up, get up, get. It's the first of the month. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up,
whatever, wake up,
Get
wake
it.
up.
Oh,
whatever.
stop, please. It's killing me. All right. So it's the first of the month. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. My name is Angela. This is my wonderful husband.
Lamar.
And we are Lamar and Angela. We are an expat family who are living in Mexico, in Querétaro, Mexico. We moved over a year ago. A year ago. To Mexico with our two kids, two teenagers, and our oldest joined us along the way, and two dogs, and we now are living in Querétaro, Mexico.
Yeah.
If you've clicked on this link, you know that this is the one that we are talking about this month.
Right.
What we learned along the way.
Yep.
On our year. First of all, can y'all even believe
It's been
that
a year.
it's been a year?
It's been a year. It's crazy.
It's
how
crazy.
it went fast.
Crazy.
There was so much going on.
Woo.
The drive down, the pack up before.
Oh, let's not. I'm traumatized.
Yeah.
I'm still traumatized. So if you haven't looked at our series in terms of how we got down here and the whole process of downsizing, take a look at some of those videos.
Right.
Y'all know. We will put the link in the description box below just for y'all if you want to check it out.
Yep.
OMG. But we are now on the other side.
Yep.
We are on the other side and now reflecting. And so we've got some questions.
Yeah.
We've got some questions, some wonderful, deep, thought-provoking questions that we have assembled. And we're going to attempt to answer them in our live, right?
Boy.
Yeah. So some of these are kind of hard.
Yeah,
Kind of hard questions.
Yeah,
so
they're deep questions.
yes. You ready?
I guess.
Okay, here we go. So the first question is, what motivated your decision to move from Maryland to Mexico? And how did you prepare for such a big life change with 3 kids and 2 dogs?
God had to push.
Here we go.
and I say that because I always told Angie, I said, wanting to move and having to move are 2 different things.
Right.
And so with everything culminating into one perfect storm, it propelled me into a place where I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Uh-huh.
And so I needed a break, and I needed a break from not only the political situations in the United States, the things that were happening within the family, within the workplace, and God knew things that were going to happen later on. That 3 months later, contract ended, and I would have been without a job. The housing situation, it was just too much.
It was the perfect storm.
So I was like this.
It really was
oh
the perfect storm going on at the time.
Yeah. So that the motivation for me was find a different way. I need to live, and just watching classmates get sick, die, and I consider myself young, and I just didn't want to continue living like that. Watching people come into my workplace and then not seeing them for a while, and then look in the memoriam part of the webpage saying so-and-so passed away on X day. I was like, whoa, dude died while coming to work, basically.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks. So in terms of what motivated my decision, I had already been there like 10 years prior. I was already ready to go in terms of leaving. But in hindsight, and I think I might have said this in a previous video, that it really just wasn't the right time. Our parents were still alive
Yeah.
at one point in time, and for his side of the family, we were the only.
I had the only children. There
Yeah.
were no grandchildren except for what we had,
Right.
children. And so pulling, them away from my mother, who just absolutely loved and adored, Benjamin and Gabrielle and Vanessa, it would have broke my mother's heart. And with her health declining, with all the ailments that she had, we didn't want to take that away. She needed to spend as much time as she could with them.
And I loved my mother-in-law, absolutely loved my mother-in-law. So I wouldn't have wanted to do that. I wouldn't have wanted to move away at that any type, to take the kids away from her being able to visit as often and as freely as she wanted to. So that would have been a decision not to move. But after your mom had passed, and then my dad had passed, and then my mom, and then your dad, lastly, during the pandemic, it was like, okay, well, wait a minute.
Right.
We're not getting any younger.
Right.
And life is too short.
Too short. It is way too short.
Is absolutely too short. And it would suck.
Oh.
It would suck to get to, the end of my life if it was premature and say, dang, but I never did get to blank, blank, blank. I never did get to blank, blank, blank. And I'm always reminded of a friend's father who died right after his retirement. He worked faithfully and then died at the very end, like 2 weeks after he had retired. That sucks. Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah.
And so the motive or the desire to live and really take advantage of living while I'm in good health, while I'm got the vim and vigor to hike up a mountain or something like that, was really something that pushed and motivated the decision to move. Right. Also, like Lamar said, the political climate, the racial climate, the whole issue of safety.
As we start this live, I'm coming here cheering because the orange leprechaun has been indicted again. Get him! Get him!
But we had that in our back of our minds. The real thing was we wanted to live.
Yes.
And so how did I prepare? How did we prepare? I think mentally I've been prepared all along to, experience something new, to experience a new culture, blah, blah, blah. We did, or at least I did, start trying to learn Spanish ahead of time.
Well, I'm catching up.
Okay. And tried to get the kids in on trying to learn Spanish as well. They didn't take it seriously until after we got here, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm working on it. And I've made friends who are helping me with that. We just posted up a new video about finding your tribe.
Mm-hmm. So check that out.
And so I'm finding my tribe with my RC friends.
Yes.
Those guys are great. I'm also meeting other expats here in these travels, and just building new friendships.
And many of the friendships that I found, I reached out in terms of answering the question, preparing for this big life change, moving abroad, reaching out to communities beforehand to try to establish some friendships and to make some connections before we got here, so that it didn't feel like you were just getting here and then you're all alone and isolated.
There were guys that I had contacted prior to leaving with regards specifically for RC racing here, and then met them when I got here.
Yeah.
So it's worked out very well.
Okay. So the next question is, what were the biggest challenges you faced during the relocation process? Ooh, and how did you overcome them?
Biggest challenge?
Yes.
It's just the multiple split screen of downsizing.
Ooh, yeah. Absolutely.
Selling, giving away, trashing, figuring out what to bring, what to leave.
Yeah.
That was the biggest challenge out of all of that, to coordinate all of those things, was
all in the same space.
Yeah.
So I guess hands down, that was the nightmare.
Yeah.
Because getting our visas was a little challenging. It was really much just getting the appointment was the challenge.
Right. And getting it together, because they wanted to split.
Right.
And so we're like, okay,
we had
so if
four different people for 4 different appointments needed for 4 separate people.
And my intelligent wife here contacted them and said, hey, look, kids coming by themselves? Really? The parents should be there.
Oh, wow.
So it makes sense that if the parents have to be there and the kids have to be there, then the parents are going to be there, then we should all do it together.
Right. And fortunately, they accommodated us on that. But in terms of the biggest challenges, I would say that was the biggest part, because if you go with the right moving company, your moving company should make that shipping process, if you're shipping things,
right,
it should make that shipping process a lot easier for you. And honestly, that was probably the easy part. When they came in and packed up the stuff that was remaining, and boop, it was on the ship, and boop, and it was gone.
Zooming.
Right.
Pew, 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 pew. It's like, what in the world? Stuff get wrapped up. You put your hands up.
Right.
Where'd it go?
Right.
Dude was gone with it.
Right.
So,
yeah, that was crazy. Very crazy. And how did we overcome them? The biggest challenge.
It was really overcoming is
plugging through it.
Yeah, just pushing through it, because it had to be done.
And it's interesting, because I look back at some of the videos, and we recorded hours upon hours upon hours of video of that. Much of it we've tried to condense down for you so that and provide that in our playlist. Again, it'll be in the description box below. But looking back on it, it was kind of traumatic, y'all. So let me just brace you. If you are in the process, or even thinking of the whole downsizing, taking a lifetime of memories and either getting rid of or shrinking it down, it can be a very emotional process. And we just had to plug through the heaviness of it. I think for one of the ways we overcame the whole situation was just the fact that we didn't drag it out over. I can't imagine doing that over some years. Right.
It was over what?
6 months.
Yeah.
6 months. We really did that whole process in a 6 month. It was like ripping off a Band-Aid, as opposed to pulling the Band-Aid off a little by little. It was just like, whoosh, let's just let that go.
Yeah. So we just plugged through it, got through it. And then once the stuff was with the shipping company, things were sold in the estate sale, and then stuff was given away. It was just a matter of us packing up the van, getting things ready, and hitting the road.
And the drive down was probably the easiest part.
The drive was easy. No problems, no issues with any kind of mechanical failures of the van. The van performed great. And no traffic stops, nothing.
We didn't even have any challenges in terms of immigration or customs, rather.
Across the border, it took us literally, and we talked about this, it literally took us maybe 10 minutes at the most.
10 minutes is generous.
Yes, because it was like wham, bam. They didn't even ask us to take anything out the van, off the top of the van, nothing.
I was actually a little salty about that, because I came ready. I came prepared. You heard me? I came prepared. I had all of our documentation, all of our paperwork, the dog's paperwork, the kids' paperwork, birth certificates, all kinds of documentation. I had it ready, locked and loaded, ready to go. You heard? And then after we pulled in, I was expecting them, okay, here we go. Open the hood. Okay, here we go. Let's go. Here we go. They were just kind of like, cute chihuahua.
These your belongings? Yeah. Have a nice day.
And just waved us through. We were like, what? Okay. Well, shoot.
Cool.
Yay.
And then we went on to I&M, checked in, got the tip.
didn't get stopped all the way
To San Luis Potosi.
right, and then on our way from San Luis Potosi to Querétaro. So
Yeah.
it was actually a very non-eventful trip.
Sure.
And after the hell and havoc of the previous 6 months,
Yeah.
I was actually quite grateful for that.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so the next question, how has living in Mexico for a year influenced your family dynamics, and how have your kids adapted to the cultural difference? That's a good question.
Family dynamics. I think as the kids have grown, normal teenagers start to kind of want their own space.
Mm-hmm.
So that dynamic, I think, is a universal.
Yeah.
I don't think that it has so much changed the dynamic. I think we do spend time together.
Yeah, we do spend a lot more time
together.
I mean, we have to spend time together because the kids they didn't listen to mommy in terms of getting on their Spanish when they had the opportunity. So when they got here, they did not have very much Spanish under their belt. So they had to kind of keep close under the wing,
right?
Because they hadn't made those connections just quite.
Right. And also, with school, it was online, so that was,
That's true.
And then how have they adapted? Well,
here's another question. Someone else just asked this question as well. How did you handle the transition for your kids and dogs to a new country and culture? And were there any specific adjustments or preparations you made for them?
Dogs adapted pretty quick.
Yeah, the dogs were fine.
Yeah. Any specific adjustment preparations?
Other than, now we did give them the opportunity to make a decision on what school they wanted to go to.
Right.
There's a number of, here in Querétaro, there are a number of international schools.
Right.
So we gave them that information for all of the schools to let them try to make a choice for themselves as to what they wanted to do. In our back pocket, we had a online school that's based in the United States that offers an online American or US diploma,
yeah,
and all that kind of thing. So they wouldn't have had that as an issue if they go to this school that is specifically designed for kids who are athletes or families that are diplomatic families and they travel a lot, or Olympiads or actors and actresses and things like that. So they had that as their as we had that as our back pocket.
Yeah.
So we knew that was, if they couldn't make a decision, which they didn't, they procrastinated, hemming and hawing. 1 minute they wanted to be online, the next minute they wanted to go in person.
Right.
And we gave them a deadline and said, listen, we need to have a decision by, I think we gave them by July, the end of July. If you don't have a decision for us, we're calling it.
Right. And we had to call it.
And we called it.
So,
right.
Just real quick, we got some people out here. We got
hey,
Erica.
Hey, Erica. Tuning in from the DMV. What's up? What's going on? Good to have you on board.
Yeah.
Home person. Hey.
KB.
Up, KB. Watching from Puerto Vallarta. Okay. Getting your residency card this week. All right.
Hey.
Puerto Vallarta. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Erica came back with a question.
Oh.
Curious about you guys' faith and how it has played a role in this whole process.
Yeah. And Journey to the Sun asked a similar question about, were we able to find a church home?
No, we tune into a DMV church still.
Yes. Our family back in the DMV at Zion Church Online.
Yeah.
So that's kind of been a little piece of home that we've been able to carry with us all the way.
I mean, hearing the pastor there, he resonates with me.
With Keith?
Yes.
Yeah, Keith,
and it just, I don't know.
Shout out to Keith Battle. What's up, Keith?
I hear home,
mm-hmm.
and I also understand him because we're kind of the same age group.
Yeah.
So I identify with him.
It's like having a little slice of home on our, and we watch him on the big TV in the living room. So we get the full surround sound with the music and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Now I have been able to make some inroads with some expats that are trying to form a church, or that had there is an English speaking church here in Querétaro, and the English speaking church that when we got here and they learned that I have been a former pastor and have ministry training and all that kind of stuff, they got real excited.
Right.
But we're going to let the Lord move us in whichever way that God moves. And we've been really just kind of forming a community with those persons that are from this women's Bible study group that I participate with.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the next question.
Thank you for that question.
Yeah. What are the most significant cultural differences you've experienced in Mexico compared to the United States? And how have they affected your daily life? So one of the things that Angie has noticed, and it every time she sees it, she points it out, is how they give reverence and respect to the elderly, your seasoned adults.
Yes.
And how they take care of them and making sure that they get out during the day and have walks. And
it really does and you're right. Every time I see it, there's something in me that it just warms my heart every time I see the way that they walk their elderly across the street, their little abuelas and their abuelos, and just how they really take care of their elderly and things like that. I absolutely love that. And having been a primary caregiver to my mother with her Parkinson's disease and things like that, the fact that a culture would be so sensitive to making sure that they have seats for their elderly, making sure, like, just in every facility, not just like on a bus or something like that, but in every place they have seats for their elderly, and they have in the grocery store lines for their elderly, and just all kinds of things like that. There's just really, I rock with that. I rock with that. I really do. That it warms my heart. And I also like the way they take care of their kids too. There are spaces for kids everywhere you go,
and spaces for the little pups.
Oh yeah, true.
You go to the Chedraui, the grocery store. They have a little puppy area out there with bowls
outside the grocery store,
fire hydrants for them to pee on, and all this stuff.
You can bring your dog to the mall. You can have your dog at the grocery store, which is like
restaurants. They have a little space out there for at restaurants with the dogs.
Little puppy menu. It's just like what?
And if we walk up the street into where the town where we live, there are dogs wandering all up and down, and the dogs are friendly. I mean, I went up to a tienda yesterday to get some things from the store, and the dogs come up, sniff your hands, and Karen, you pet them on the head, and you go on about your business. But it's a dog country, loving country, and the dogs have a special place to them.
Yeah, it does seem to be like a very dog cultured. Now, if you don't love dogs or you don't like dogs, you're gonna have a problem.
Right.
Are you okay? No, just kidding. But if you love dogs like we do, then it was very welcome in terms of that cultural difference.
Yeah.
The other significant cultural difference I would find is just their attitude for, just easy.
Yeah.
It's just easy. Calm down,
relax.
It's
calm down.
And nothing serious.
And the people that we've met, some have expressed their views as far as racism and things like that. And they don't like that at all. It bothers them immensely. One of the guys that would come and help out here at the house, he expressed to me how he just did not like the fact that the United States treats people of color in the way that they do.
Right. And so that would be a cultural difference that I have noticed. Now, I have heard from some other expats who are persons not of color. And those persons have expressed, oh my gosh, the way we're treated, this and the other. Oh my God. But we haven't been treated that way. No. And I've noticed, I have seen how persons who are non-melanated are kind of given the
Yeah, sometimes it's
Whereas people of color have been treated like, it's
yeah,
kind of a weird flip
yeah.
in terms of the difference from the United States.
Yeah,
Let us just say that.
when you're walking around and you've got a bib on that says privilege on it, it kind of shows and it makes
It turns people off.
It turns people off, and
Yeah.
nobody wants to be bothered with that.
Right.
I greet people. As a matter of fact, Angie laughs at me because when we drive through the security gate, I was, saying,
Bro, hey,
what's up, Dan? What's up, Antonio?
Antonio,
What's up? And
doing his Barack Obama.
Yeah, I'm just that way, and I see him as a human being, a good dude.
They are good dude. They are good people.
Yeah, and I just
very good
speak,
people.
all of them. So yeah, the other cultural difference that I've seen is with how nice and helpful everybody has been.
Very
here.
helpful, very helpful,
It's
very welcoming.
Yes,
very welcoming. That's kind of off-putting is not the word. That's not the word I want to use. I want to use the word shocking, but that's even too harsh too. Off-putting, shocking. It's like a little bit of a oh. Well,
yes.
Well, thank you. That kind of thing.
Yeah, and when you see police officers here, I don't get the same feeling that I did before. Even though the police officers are riding in the back of a large,
big armored looking thing,
semi-automatic rifles and stuff like that,
yeah.
And it's like
looking like they're about to go to war,
right? But I have not had that. They're watching me when I drive past them. It's I've calmed down off of that, because if you're doing the right things and things like that, you're not going to have a problem. And here in Querétaro, they don't have a need for speed traps because
these speed bumps.
They have these speed bumps that vary in size, frequency. So,
listen,
you can't speed on these roads unless you're going to launch yourself into somebody's backyard or house.
That's right.
So that was interesting to experience here. But I mean, I feel very comfortable here in these spaces when I go to the mall and things like that. Not having somebody follow you around in the store and wondering if you're in here shoplifting or trying to steal something.
Very true.
Don't get that at all.
Yeah, no, not at all. Yeah. Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. The next question: tell us about some of the most memorable experiences or adventures you've had during your time in Mexico as a family. This was a hard question
because the most recent was Puerto Vallarta.
PV.
Yeah.
Now first of all, our Airbnb in matter of fact, our Airbnb in San Miguel was fabulous.
Yes, it was.
Absolutely fabulous. And the Airbnb in PV was fabulous.
Yes.
Mexico City,
yeah,
it was okay. I mean, it was fine.
It was clean. It was nice, but it wasn't.
It wasn't fabulous.
Yeah, because San Miguel, it was a nice house, and you could go up to the rooftop garden and had a
fantastic view.
It was absolutely fantastic. And then the penthouse in Puerto Vallarta
was fantastic.
The port and everything, the water, the beach.
Absolutely great. Absolutely great. Now we went to Puerto Vallarta to celebrate Benjamin's 18th birthday.
Yeah.
And so I guess for me, I would probably say, and we were in San Miguel last year for our anniversary.
Yes.
So we've been kind of doing some significant travel for, some milestone events and things like that. Although that was just a regular anniversary. It wasn't like our big anniversary.
Yeah, it'll be 20 years next year.
20 years. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So Ben's 18th birthday was kind of like, it was a big milestone, and we wanted to celebrate with him because we knew that he was going to be eventually graduating from high school and leaving for college. And as these kids start to go in their separate ways, we wanted to try to have another, some time together. So I think for me, the most memorable experience out of that Puerto Vallarta trip was our horseback riding.
Oh yeah, that was fantastic. It was through the woods and the forest and the jungle where they filmed Predator.
Right.
To go zip lining. So it was horseback riding coupled with zip lining.
Swimming in a cenote.
Yeah.
Was it a cenote?
No,
kind of like a cave-ish river. I don't know what that was called, but it was fantastic.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. And I do enjoy horseback riding. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and the food was really good.
Yeah.
I don't know if Puerto Vallarta had some good food that day.
Yeah.
Whoa, that was really good.
Yeah.
But just being able to see the sunrise and the sunset over the water, listen, the water is my happy place. It's always my happy place. So anytime you put me near some beautiful blue water, I'm good.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a memorable time. And that was one of the times that, we were taking care of the dude.
Oh, yeah.
Taking care of Lucky.
Yeah.
Because he was getting older and older at the time. So
our 17-year-old.
17, not quite 18.
Not quite 18-year-old miniature Schnauzer, half Silky Terrier that we've had since he was 2 months old.
Right.
Our road dog Lucky passed while we were here.
Yeah.
And so a couple months ago. And so although I wouldn't call that a memorable experience, but I am glad that he was able to make that trip with us, because I would have been kind of sad if he wasn't able to make that trip with us. And so one memorable part to that was when we were, especially during the whole packing process and getting ready to leave, I always envisioned, or the thing that always got me through that was imagining one day I'm going to sit on a terrace somewhere and overlook some scenic view, and we're going to sit here with our dogs and sit in the sun and just enjoy and have a quiet moment. And we got to do that quite often. Yeah. So I was really happy about that. Mm-hmm. Ooh, this is a good question.
How has your perspective on work-life balance changed since moving to Mexico? And how do you manage both personal and professional responsibilities? A little secret here.
We don't.
We've been a little bit of a sabbatical in the last year, so we really have not had to do any work-life balance, although we're going to have to kick it into gear maybe do a little bit more for a little bit longer.
The sabbatical is ending.
Yeah. So, but it actually, I think that this year also encompassed a lot of dealing with cultural changes, life changes, how things work here, how to find things. And I've made it through using Google Translate and things like that. But it's just understanding how things work here in Mexico, culturally wise, how to get around, shopping, things like that, and so just understanding life here in Mexico, plus the weather's great.
The weather's fantastic. Work-life balance. I think one of the things that the perspective in coming to Querétaro and just having this sabbatical time, I realize now the level of your burnout.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, now he was able to get into the sabbatical flow right away and was like, woo, it took me a good at least 6 or 7 months to kind of stop in this, kind of hamster wheel pace and get to the place where I could kind of think about slowing down. And now that I've finally kind of slowed down, now we got to kick it back up and start going back out there into the whole thing again. So that's like, how do you manage personal and professional responsibilities? Listen, let me just be upfront and honest. I don't. It's hard. It's very hard for me and my personality type to to get into the whole work-life balance thing. It's very hard. And so I struggle with it. So yeah. If you have any comments or any tips for me, do please share with the sister, because I'm always in need of some work-life balance situations.
Yeah.
You have something for us?
No, but we have some couple people coming in here. Journey says awesome. So
Oh, Professor LCH, I see it. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I feel seen. Get up front from the bus so I could sit down. Yes.
yeah,
And then let me walk to elevators. That is true. There is such a there's a little bit of I see chivalry, which makes me feel like we have not done enough to teach our kids or teach our
sons. And so I try to, impress upon our son the importance of being respectful to women,
right?
opening doors, and things like that.
Mhm.
And umbrellas or
Right.
anything that you can do to, instead of having this barrage of negativity coming from some of the music that some of these kids are
Yeah.
picking up on that teach them stuff.
And it's true. People do say buenas tardes, buenos dias. You aren't expected to, when you greet someone, just immediately jump into the, hey, what's, I need to know this, that, and the other.
Right.
When you come to a store and you're, trying to go to the counter, you are expected to greet the person first.
Right.
Hello, say
Right.
hello first before you just jump into it. I need to return this package, or,
Right.
that kind of thing. So that is a little bit of a cultural difference. Yeah. But even for you, Katrina, hey Katrina, what's up, girl? It is important to get some rest.
Yes.
And I hadn't really realized how badly I needed some rest until we got here.
Yeah.
That I mean, for you now, I really have a real sense for just your level of just burnt out.
Yeah, I was going through the motions at the end, and of course, I was kind of a short timer there, but at the same time, it's like,
yeah,
and as they say, all work and no play make Jack a dull boy.
Right.
Well, I wasn't having any fun.
Yeah.
And this whole thing of making sure that the family had what they needed, things like that. That is a huge, huge, huge weight and burden to carry around. And so I definitely needed a breather.
But you know what still makes me happy?
What's that?
It really makes me happy to see your face when you get to go racing and to see the smile on your face.
That is a blast.
It makes me so happy to see him happy. Y'all should see his face. His face is like a little kid. And just so happy. And that was one of the realizations that we had before we moved here. We had taken a trip to Cancun and got to go to a cenote and all this kind of stuff. And there, I remember taking this picture of you when we were about to jump off the cenote into the water. And the level of happiness and joy on his face was just like, wow, I've never seen that level of just happy. And so for us, and that was one of the questions earlier, that we had to get back to that level of happy. Yeah.
And see, Aging Gracefully is tuning in.
What's
Glad
going
to
on?
see you guys. Cedric.
Good to see you guys.
Yeah.
Holly, swing through if you come through from San Miguel.
Yeah. Come say hey. What's going on?
Yes. Okay. So let's take one of the other questions. What was that was our work-life balance question. In terms of education and healthcare.
Healthcare here.
What have been your experiences with the system in Mexico compared to what you're used to in Maryland? Let's not even compare the two.
It's a total different thing. Anybody that thinks that Mexico is, out in the backwoods bleeding people and putting leeches on them, no.
Leeches.
No, they're not doing that kind of stuff. They have state-of-the-art facilities. They have highly trained physicians and doctors specializing, like for Benjamin, who has had an ear issue for several years. We found a doctor. She has been done an amazing job.
Amazing. And she is diagnosed that the issue is not necessarily, it is with part of his inner ear,
also here.
but it's also his nose. And so she's fixing the nose part, which that hadn't been diagnosed before in the States.
Right. And she was talking about ventilation.
Right.
So,
and he has, just since he's had that surgery, and we've had that surgery for him, he's had a surgery on his nose. I've had a surgery on my eye. Just in having that, I've had some dental work initially before we came, but that was the thing that opened my eyes to the fact that dental care, healthcare in Mexico is really good. When we went to get Ben's surgery, we got to the, first of all, they did the surgery on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. First thing in the morning on a Sunday.
Right.
And we got to the facility, brand new, state-of-the-art facility, clean, pristine, all of that kind of thing. Great, attentive. And they checked us in, and we had a nurse that came down and walked with us, took us from the front desk up to put us in what I thought it was going to be a waiting area or something, but it turned out to be a private room.
Right.
That we got to chill out in the private room
while Ben had his surgery.
They rolled Ben off to have his surgery and then rolled him back so he could recover from the anesthesia. And I was like, so we've sat up in there chilling, watching TV.
Right. And so drinking, I went to Starbucks, got some coffee, and
had a great time.
Right. So this whole image, and I didn't have any expectations. You know, I try to, well, let me go see for myself. I don't want to sit there and go by what someone else says. Let me experience it for myself.
Right.
And so what we experienced was excellence.
Yeah.
Excellence.
Even to the dogs.
Yes.
The dogs having their doctor, and even Agent Gratefully said she was blown away when the doctor came to the house. I know. They will make a house call. Like what?
As soon as
tell the story.
So the doctor says after his surgery, hit me up on WhatsApp. I'll send a message to you. And they're communicating with you on WhatsApp, asking how Benjamin's doing.
Texting us with her cell phone. Here's my cell phone. Call me if you need anything. Like, what? Right. Texting us, how's he doing? Each day, is he okay? How's it going? This and the other. You have any questions? Blah, blah, blah. We were like, wow.
Right.
Wow. And all of that, the whole cost of his entire surgery was less than what you would have probably paid for if your deductible,
I mean, and it was not a, little surgery. It was a surgery. And so, this misconception of, or what is the line of story that is told in the United States about, as a matter of fact, it was interesting, I'm not going to get off on a tangent, but just the contrast or the look at the presidents talking, and one president saying, hey, can you do something about that fentanyl issue, Biden? And the president from Mexico, can you do something about these guns?
Yeah.
Can you keep your guns over there? We don't want this, because here in Mexico, they don't have a, huge gun problem other than what comes from the United States.
Right.
So this whole experience for me has been life-changing.
Medications we've been able to get over the counter that Ben needed for his ear, his nose, his
everything,
all kinds of medications. You
just walk up and boom, you got it, and the cost is low.
Right. Very low. So that always blows me away when we encounter that. That's just been such a blessing. That's just, I can't even. And I need to actually go get another. I had a root canal done in 2021, and I need to have another root canal. So I'm going back to the same place because they did a fantastic job. It was awesome. I'm really excited about that. This is for you. What aspect of Mexican culture and lifestyle do you find the most appealing? And how has it impacted your family's well-being?
Just we talked about this earlier, but they're just general welcoming.
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah.
People don't look at you stranger out here. They don't. I mean,
Okay.
I walk up the street all the time and go into these tiendas, and it does show that, yeah, he's kind of not from here. So, but I don't get treated like he's not from here. I get treated like a human being.
Yeah.
So,
Oh.
and when they see you making an effort with regard to language and trying to speak, Angie jokes about the fact that I go to the Panderia, which is right outside the community here.
Every day.
No, I don't.
You do.
No, I don't. I got excited when I was like, oh, this is great. And it's just once a week. No.
Every other day.
No, once a week.
Lies?
Once a week. And so, but the owner there has been great. You know, he speaks English, but the employees there are helpful, explaining different types of pastries, breads, things like that. And it's always been a pleasant experience for me.
Yeah.
It's never been something I'm like, oh, I can't stand it.
Now, in our neighborhood, we do tend to, we live in a neighborhood that's a very up and coming, very, what's the word? I call it shishi poo poo. That's my word. It's shishi poo poo.
Right.
And so our neighbor next door invited us to one of their parties and actually invited the entire neighborhood. Now we live in a area of maybe 30 villas, little villa houses or what have you, and invited the entire neighborhood to come to their little shishi poo poo party.
Right.
Now I didn't find out it was shishi poo poo because they said BYOB. Now I don't know, that kind of brings to mind a certain atmosphere. If you say BYOB, I'm thinking it's going to be on a, more laid back level. It was not. It was very shishi poo poo.
It was catered. They had waiters walking around. They had drink service going.
Open bar.
Serving drinks and everything. And they put on a really nice event.
It was very nice.
Yeah.
It was very nice. And the area that we live in, there are persons who own their own factories or corporations. There are government officials. There are all those kinds of individuals living in our area.
Right.
And we walked in. Now we're a little bit of the anomaly. And that when we came in, this was really the first time that we had branched out to kind of interact, because we don't speak Spanish. So I was like, okay. But our next door neighbor does speak some English.
Yes.
And so we thought, well, if she's going, the neighbor on the left, then we'll come over to the neighbor on the right's house. And we kind of was like, we have no choice but to go over here next door.
We're the only brown people in the neighborhood of African-American descent. So we show up and they were like, hey, what's going on?
It almost felt like they were like, well, it's about dang time y'all try to, because we've been inviting you over to come to stuff.
Right. So,
but it was very nice. They were all very welcoming, very friendly, very, the whole gambit. I didn't feel a kind of air of shishi poo poo is,
they were down to earth, talking about sports, talking about Formula One that I love. I enjoy talking about, motorsports and that kind of thing. And so it was a good time.
Right. We did have a really good time. And the food there was really, our little, the taqueria guy that is on the corner. He actually has getting out of the actual brick and mortar and doing more catering events like that, private catering events. So it was good to have those tacos back on deck. Right. But Katrina, let me tell you something. Honey, them pastries.
Oh yeah.
That's all I got to say.
The thing about it, I'm getting used to it because, in the United States, pastries are
really sweet. Yes. When we first got here, it was like, this isn't sweet.
Right.
But we had to kind of realign our taste buds back down because the level of sugar that's used in the United States is a lot.
Lot.
Now since having lived here for a year,
Yeah.
when we go back to the States or when we have stuff from the States, we're like, oh my God, it's so sweet.
And so they also do now, because we have been looking, pizza. And their pizza is absolutely fantastic. It
Okay.
is really good.
So listen, Lamar and I are going to do a video series about finding good pizza here in Mexico.
Yeah, because there's one of them that we got pizza. The sauce was basically ketchup.
It was bootay.
Yes.
Okay. It was not good pizza or what
Yeah.
have you. And then they do this whole thing of why everything got to have jalapenos? Come on now.
Or some kind of spicy sauce on it, or they give you some kind of spicy dipping sauce.
Can we get some Italian sausage? Can we just get, so
Yeah,
we're going to do a whole complete series because we've got a number of places that people have given us recommendations, because that's one of our very first complaints is, can we get some good pizza?
Yeah.
So we're going to put some of these pizza places up side by side and try to see if,
Yeah, because
in search of good pizza.
I don't understand the love for Little Caesars. The line will be backed up
around the
the
building
corner, yeah.
for Little Caesars.
Little Caesars, because there's a few Domino's here, there's Pizza Hut here,
Yes.
and then you have your mom and pops and your, what some of them have listed themselves as artisanal,
Mhm.
and it's not artisanal. Stop. Especially if you can't. Pepperoni, sausage, Italian sausage.
Yeah.
You need those.
There's
what
just a
we've
certain way
experienced.
that you should make a pizza.
And
The crust has been okay.
yeah,
But yeah, so we're going to stay tuned for that series.
Yeah.
And yes, we love these fresh. And what I also love about the tiendas and things of that nature is that you can get loads of fresh food
yes,
relatively cheaply,
right.
not having, and they're organic. I mean,
Yes.
it can't help but be organic.
Yeah, they come in and they've got
It's just
dirt
really
on them.
literally pulled out the ground,
They have
slapped
dirt.
on the truck, and then put
Yeah.
in the store.
Yeah, so you definitely have, when you get there, it has to be washed, and so it's definitely
Yeah.
organic.
Yeah. So that's also been a good thing. And maybe that's why we've lost some weight since we
Well,
have gotten here.
And then the lack of stress.
That part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have you faced any language barriers? And how have you managed to communicate effectively with locals and navigate
That's-
everyday situations?
Right now, it's still Google Translate a little bit. I'm starting to understand more and more words. I have more words, Spanish words in my vocabulary
Mhm.
that I understand, and I hear them, and I go, "Oh, I know that word. Ooh,
Right.
I know that word. Ooh, I know that word."
Good job.
And so, and sometimes with hearing those words, I can kind of put it together,
Mhm.
kind of figure out what they're talking about, what they're asking. And then when I can't figure out, I just pull out my phone and do the rest that way.
No,
They don't mind that. Any server in a restaurant, they don't mind that.
they actually make more of an effort to try to speak English than we allow them to.
Right.
Because no, don't do it out of feeling obligated or whatever. I'm really trying to learn Spanish.
Right.
And so for me at this point, a whole year later, I'm able to understand a lot more Spanish than I can speak. And I think the speaking portion is mostly just me being intimidated about
Right.
my pronunciation and making sure my pronunciation is right, or things like that. Or French tended to be the first language that I learned. And so when I'm speaking, the very first thing that'll fall out of my mouth is French, because French and Spanish are very similar. So, how have we managed? Google Communicate or Google Translate. And then if it's not, it's pantomime.
Yeah.
Baño.
Yeah.
And it's hand gestures, things like that. That you'd be surprised how that can get you around and help you navigate. Although we did open our very first Mexican bank account.
Yep.
all
did.
by yourself,
Yes,
as Benjamin says.
all by yourself.
All by yourself.
Took 3 days. But,
Ooh,
but it
we're
got
not gonna
done.
go there.
Yeah.
That wasn't us though. It wasn't our fault.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't our fault. For some reason, it was the bank,
Yeah.
and they kept having to call us back to it. Child. Okay, this one's for you.
As expats, what advice would you give to others considering a similar move to Mexico with their families and pets?
Ooh.
So advice is to make sure everybody's on board. Don't force.
Oh yeah, true.
It's nothing worse than trying to force a square peg into a round hole.
Yeah. Because they're not gonna, if the kids or your husband or what is not on board, or your wife is not on board, ooh, that's gonna be a miserable time.
If like one of our friends have said, if you have relationship issues there,
you're gonna bring them here.
You're gonna bring them here.
Yep.
You need to fix those things because it's not going to fix.
It's not
relationship issues.
It probably will make it worse.
Yes, it'll make it worse.
Honestly, you need to start on a good, solid footing in terms of your communication and your relationship, and with your spouse and with your kids, to be able to offer them space to express how they feel and all those kinds of things. I would probably. Now, this is one of the things that we did that I could say we got right. In terms of acclimating the kids and getting them on board, making sure they understood the why, getting their buy-in was huge. Getting their buy-in, and even though they weren't really fully bought in,
right?
You know, Gabby probably was more so bought in. Vanessa, our oldest, was, she was already bought in. But our son was probably the one that was kind of the most skeptical,
right, and
has probably enjoyed himself the most at this point. Yeah. So that's kind of like an interesting twist.
Right.
But just making sure that they understand and have a voice and have some say in the process.
Right.
When we went looking for homes, we tried to let them have a say. And when I say a say, I'm a Black mama. You don't really get a say, but I can make you think you get a say. You know what I'm saying? But to give them to the feeling that they have a opportunity to express their opinion. Was helpful.
And allow them to see it before we move in. I mean, we've got a house hunting series coming.
Yes. And
we've toured 15 or so or more houses.
We actually toured more, but these are the ones.
Some of them were pretty good. Some of them were like
booty. Okay, let's just put it out there. Put it where the ghosts can get it.
And even our agent that we were working with was like, "How can you show a house in this condition? Why,
damn, sir?
Come on now, can you just clean it up a little bit?" So
basically,
and so, but to allow them to see them either by video or something like that, help them to, I guess, see it, go, okay, it's not, oh, it's a nice house. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's not, because sometimes people have a preconceived notion in their head what they're, because they did have a preconceived notion of what a Mexican house would be, but it's not what they think. I mean, yes, the houses aren't what you see in the country, A-frame, all this. They're more modern. And some
are modern, some are very colonial, but I'm looking at you, I'm giving you the side eye.
Why?
Because before we came, he thought I was going to have him in some sort of shack out in the middle of nowhere, as if I don't know who I'm married to. Hello? I know who I'm married to. I wasn't going to be in the shack because I wouldn't let it. Lamar Martin was going to let me take him to no shack.
No.
Okay?
No.
That wasn't going to happen.
No, it wouldn't.
But I would probably recommend that. I would try to include all the members of the family who are going in that process of moving, even if they're littles, to include them in their packing of their things, and then the unpacking and the placement of your things in your room and all that kind of stuff. Just make it special for them to feel like they're a part of this whole move decision and not just a spectator.
As far as the little four-legged friends, your pets, cats, dogs, whatever, as long as they're attached to you guys, they're fine. Lucky was fine. Candy was fine. As long as Candy was up under Angie
Oh my gosh.
all the time.
Oh my gosh.
Everywhere Angie goes, there's Candy.
Don't be talking about my baby dog.
You know, Lucky, you know, as he gotten older, he used to follow Angie like
And
that.
don't be talking about my old man.
You know, but he was okay. I mean, he
Yeah.
rode down. He was a trooper.
He was.
He rode in the car, and actually he was quite active. I mean, he did a really good
He
job.
did. Yeah, he did. Candy did a good job too.
Yeah.
She's a good dog too.
Yeah.
Okay. So lastly, I think this is probably the question that has the most consideration for us. And if you have enjoyed our conversation and our these questions so far, don't forget to give us a like. Don't forget to hit that like button right there. And don't forget to subscribe if you're not a member of the Martin family.
Right.
Come on, let's join.
Yes.
We'll be waiting for it.
Yeah,
Let's
because we got
join.
some good stuff coming. As a matter of fact, I have to work with her on putting together a video that specifically speaks to my RC racing.
Yes, and there's a couple other videos that that we're going to put together to answer your questions about what is it like. So I have a video that's already on deck coming up about hair care, black hair care, and I'm kind of doing my puff today. I'm doing a puff today. But this question was hard. What have you learned about yourself and each other during this adventure, and how has it shaped your plans for the future? I was like, wow. Now I could say what I've learned about you. Did you have anything that you learned about me?
Not things
Maybe I
that-
shouldn't have asked that question.
Not things that, I mean, I've always known that you're very intelligent, very smart, very resourceful, creative. And so it just,
Go on.
it
Say more.
She can, we bring different things to the table.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm more of a mechanic, put things together, set things up. I mean, the house that we're in right now, you know, I rewired with Ethernet cable and stuff like that to make it so that we could function here. And so from a education standpoint, though, helping the kids with school, I don't have the patience for it. And I have a lot of patience. I don't have patience for
He is not the one. Yeah, he's not
because
the one.
I'm not for a lot of
Yeah, he's not the one.
BS. I just can't do it. I can't do that. So, but my wife she's an excellent teacher. She really,
Aw.
I think that's one of her gifts. My gift, you know,
Your gift is his ability to figure something out and fix some things. So the things that were broken in the house that needed to be fixed, or even that the landlord couldn't fix, this guy figured it out. So I've never had to worry about something being broken in the house or not being able to be fixed, because he always figures out a way to fix it and get the thing fixed. So I wasn't surprised about. Learning, what have I learned about him? I'm just surprised at your level of willing to embrace something new, because he's not Mr. New Guy.
No, I'm not.
He's not.
Truthfully, I'm, and as she says, I'm picky about food and stuff like that. I am. This whole experience is stretching me.
Yes, and I am so proud of you.
It's stretching me. You know, I'm not one for now. When you narrow down the whole move thing,
Mhm.
it's uncomfortable from the standpoint of having
To pack your stuff. I hear.
And I'm kind of like, you know, you build your nest and you get settled in and it gets real comfortable. Then you
Right.
gotta pack all this up and move it and then go to another place.
But
that's a
I
little
am very
different.
proud that you have been able to adjust, because he is not that guy. He is very much that guy that likes to get someplace, stay someplace, and not go. So I'm very proud of you that you have stretched in the course of this year. And it's been a stretching, believe me, even for me. And I'm Stretch McGee.
Yeah.
But this has been a stretch for me. So if it's been a stretch for me, I know it's been a stretch for
I
you.
mean, I spent 26 years in one house.
Yeah.
From the time that I was 6 weeks old or whatever.
Right.
So that's my orientation in life. And so I'm used to that. And so it's kind of breaking me of that a little bit, but at the same time, I think there should be balance. Yeah, you can move around a little bit, but not every year, 2 years, because that just causes, for me, it's
yeah,
it breaks at the foundation of your family and stability, because it's, you know, some people say, you know, home is where their family is, but there should be a little bit of the other side too. It's just, for me, it's been a stretch, but this is okay. I'm good.
yeah,
I know I'm the climate here is great.
Yeah.
I normally would say that this was, but it's not uncomfortable. It's not humid here. The temperature right now is quite cool. There's nice breezes blowing. So I'm okay with this. We don't need air conditioning here.
Yeah, that's been great.
You know, so
Yeah. The shaping of our plans for the future, I think at this point, it's kind of easy to say that we probably
we'll be here. This will be the home base, and then
Yeah.
we'll travel from here to go to different places, visit, things like that. But this will be home.
Yeah, I don't see us returning to the States. I
No.
mean, I didn't see it last year, and it's kind of sold and baked into the
Right.
baked into the cake at this point.
Yeah,
We really like it here, and so our plans for the future mean to stay here. If nothing else, Mexico will be our home base, and this will be from where we
right,
branch off
right, exactly.
from a thing or two. But
yeah,
yeah. So anyway, we are those. That's the end of our questions
yep,
that we have. Thank you guys for sending in any questions earlier that you might have had, or asking those questions beforehand, so that we know what questions or knew what
Right.
questions you would want to know about. And we thank you for tuning in.
Right.
First
Yep.
of all, and again, if you haven't hit that like button, hit the like button. Subscribe to our channel.
Ding-a-ling-a-ling, hit that bell,
Ring
hit
the
that
bell.
Yeah.
Then we encourage you, come on back next month, the beginning of September, because oh boy,
Yeah,
next
this comes
September 1st,
1st. Yeah,
that's gonna be a whole new child. We gotta wait till you hear about what we gotta tell you about.
yes,
We have a video coming up to explain our whole situation, what's going on now, to
Yeah.
bring you guys up to date.
Yeah.
And the House Hunter series is it should be dropping next. This should be the next video just drop in our next playlist. So you really want to make sure you click that button, because you're going to see houses from a family's point of view, and you're going to see the whole tour. We take you through the entire house in
Right.
the tours of these. Some of them are some pretty fabulous houses.
Yeah.
Absolutely fabulous
These
houses.
Yeah,
Yeah, so you're going
Yeah.
to want to check out that.
absolutely.
All
But this has
right.
been great.
It's been good.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, a year.
It has.
We're going strong.
A year.
Yeah.
Click, click, click. Here's the year 2. Blink, blink.
Blink.
All right,
Bye,
guys.
guys. Take
Thanks.
care. Thanks for coming.